Wildfire danger is a concern across our area. What to look out for as high winds are expected throughout the day. And the Walmart Museum reopening its doors to the public today. We'll take you live to the downtown Bentonville Square where they are getting ready for the ribbon cutting.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at Noon.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us for your 5 News at Noon today. I'm Morgan Wrigley here with Joshua Weisel. And there's a lot to talk about. Again, we know that today we're talking about that fire danger, and we've already seen a fire that happened yesterday. They got that contained, but today we still got to be looking out for that.
Yeah, and it's going to be an active day because we have that fire weather danger, those winds. We had a couple of thunderstorms earlier. Let's take a look outside right now from our Slim Chickens camera, and you can see every now and then it'll be still and then it starts to wobble kind of dramatically because of those winds. Winds are going to be an issue throughout the day, and because of those dry conditions and those winds, we have a high fire danger. So let's take a look at those winds right now. If you're like next to a window or a doorway that's not fully sealed, you may be hearing the whistling from the winds. It's currently right around the upper 20s into the lower 30s wind speed wise across the area. Gusts are going to be sustained between 20 and 40 throughout the day. Some max winds are going to be right around 50, 60, maybe 65 plus for some areas. So we're going to be watching these winds throughout the day. It's going to be a problem for the majority of the day today. Now, with those winds, there could also be some blowing dust further from the west as those winds in Oklahoma start to push that dust into our area as well. So we've got a lot to talk about. And as you can see, Northwest Arkansas, River Valley, it's going to be quite a dusty day, or windy day across the area today as well. So we're keeping an eye on that high fire danger just because, like we mentioned, those winds, the dry conditions that are going to be following, it's going to lead to that fire danger. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center has us right around and elevated to a critical risk for fire. And then some areas, especially to the north and west, underneath this highlighted area for some dry thunderstorms, there is even some extreme areas for wildfire danger. The reason that they have this highlighted dry thunderstorm area is because we could see additional thunderstorms this afternoon, and if those produce any lightning, that could lead to a fire danger. So we're keeping an eye on many factors. We'll let you know the very latest coming up. Like I said, a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about those strong winds, fire danger, and even some blowing dust coming up in the main forecast segment.
Thank you, Joshua. And like we said, those dry and windy conditions continue to raise fire dangers across the area. And overnight, crews worked to contain a fire just east of Beaver Lake near Piney Point Baptist Church. This is new video from this morning showing what that area looks like now that fire's been contained. The Piney Point Fire Department confirmed early this morning that they had it under control, but they are still monitoring some hot spots there. And multiple counties in Arkansas and Oklahoma are also under burn bans. You can see them right here on this map. Benton County has been added to the list, and Crawford, Sebastian, Franklin, and Johnson counties are also under a burn ban, along with Carroll and Boone counties. An Arkansas lawmaker says he wants even more money set aside for the construction of a state prison in Franklin County. Senator Jimmy Hickey of Texarkana filed an amendment to the appropriations bill that would establish a restricted reserve fund for no less than $1 billion for the project. The original bill would have allocated $750 million toward construction. Natalie Cadena with Gravel and Grit, a group created to oppose the prison, says seeing the numbers keep climbing is not surprising.
Not going to be built for under 1.5 billion. And, we don't know what infrastructure costs would add to that. I mean, roads and water and sewer and utilities and all of that could increase it another $500 million.
We reached out to Senator Hickey to ask why he filed the amendment. We haven't yet heard back. The Special Language Subcommittee, though, is set to discuss the bill on Tuesday. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he agrees in principle with the U.S. proposal for a 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine, but that the terms need to be worked out. President Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and his team are in Moscow for meetings with Russian officials. The Trump administration is threatening more tariffs, even as concern grows that the trade wars will lead to an economic shutdown. This comes as the Senate is expected to vote today on a bill to avert a government shutdown. Taurine Small reports from the White House.
Wall Street opened higher Friday following a rough day Thursday when the S&P fell to its first correction since 2023 amid uncertainty over President Trump's trade policy. The president has downplayed the recent volatility.
There'll be a little disruption, but it won't be very long.
In an interview with Fox Business, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick signaled that the U.S. tariff schedule for next month could target cars beyond ones from Canada, Mexico, and the European Union.
We buy so many cars from Japan, from Korea, from Germany, right? I know we make cars in Canada and Mexico, but it's time to bring that back home.
As for the president's threat of a 200% retaliatory tariff on alcohol from Europe if the EU doesn't remove the one on American whiskey, wine sellers are finding it hard to swallow.
I think it's going to be catastrophic.
The trade moves come as the White House suffered a setback in another area, its efforts to shrink the size of the federal government. A federal judge in Maryland ordered the Trump administration to reinstate thousands of probationary federal workers who were recently fired. A federal judge in San Francisco also issued a similar order. And with the midnight deadline approaching to avoid a government shutdown, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer switched course and announced he will vote for the Republican stopgap measure.
While the CR bill is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse.
It's not clear how many Senate Democrats will join Schumer in voting yes. Torian Small, CBS News, the White House.
President Trump is expected to give a speech this afternoon at the Department of Justice. Most presidents don't visit the DOJ in order to maintain the department's independence. The last known public appearance by a sitting U.S. president was in 2015, when former President Obama visited to pay tribute to outgoing Attorney General Eric Holder. One of the agencies impacted by mass firings is the Department of Veterans Affairs. There will be a rally in front of the Fayetteville VA hospital tomorrow starting at noon to bring awareness to these cutbacks. Bruce Apple is president of the local American Federal Government Employees. The union represents all of the workers at the Fort Smith and Fayetteville VA sites, as well as sites in Ozark, Branson, Springfield, and Joplin, Missouri. Apple says he understands there needs to be cuts, but only in a way that makes sense.
I don't think anybody could argue that that shouldn't be done. You'd be fiscally irresponsible to not do that. But you just don't come in with a sledgehammer and break everything up and then try to put the pieces back together again. Our veterans will end up getting hurt.
He says not only are his workers concerned, the local patients they serve are also worried. He says it's any future care for patients that has him very concerned. In Arkansas, lawmakers advanced the next phase of the governor's education reform plan called the Arkansas Access Act. This would overhaul the higher education system to align with the Arkansas Learns Act, which was passed in the last legislative session. The plan includes accelerating pathways to colleges and careers, streamlining the admission process, expanding scholarships, and standardizing course credits. Lawmakers had the chance to hear the bill simultaneously on both the House and Senate floors.
We really need to have more expert educator input and place some of these stakeholders back in the bill.
The one part in regards to the students in exercising their First Amendment rights, I don't even think that we needed to even touch that issue in access. And for us to do so is just to try to create a chilling effect.
Those bills passed in both chambers, mostly along party lines. Well, the Walmart Museum is ready to reopen its doors, and visitors can expect a familiar yet fresh experience. 5 News reporter Jose Carranza is live in Bentonville, where that grand reopening is happening soon.
Yeah, talking about those winds, we're really feeling those gusts here in Bentonville at the Bentonville Square. But as you can see behind me, there's a crowd already starting to pile up in front of the Walmart Museum, and people have been stopping by to take photos, and soon enough, they'll be able to walk inside when that reopening happens at 1 o'clock. Now, the Walmart Museum, located inside of the historic Terry Block building in Bentonville, has undergone a major renovation, while favorites exhibits like Sam Walton's office and his pickup truck remain. Well, the space now features a second floor with digital exhibits, a hologram theater, and an education center. Senior Director Kurt Templeton explains how in the theater you'll get to hear from Sam Walton himself.
The combination of recordings we have of Mr. Sam, everything Mr. Sam talks about in the hologram theater, he has either said on video or audio or talked about in his book. And then we use really great technology to sort of bring that to the visitor's experience.
That expansion doubles the exhibit space here at the Walmart Museum. Again, that reopening is happening here at 1 o'clock, and it's a pretty great day out here in Bentonville. For now, we're live in Bentonville covering news where you live. Jose Carranza, 5 News.
All right, thank you, Jose. Definitely been a long time coming. Exciting day there. Well, Gravette firefighter Tyler Shambles has made a full recovery after nearly losing his life in a motorcycle accident. We first told you his story in January when he was life-flighted to a hospital in Joplin, Missouri to treat severe injuries. After waking up, he was transferred to Craig Rehab Facility in Colorado, where he continued his road to recovery. What was supposed to be an 8 to 12-week stay was only 2, as he quickly regained strength. Now he's back at home, reunited with his family, and Tyler and his wife have just one message for the community.
He doesn't seem like enough, especially after 5 weeks of people, showing up for us. We had neighbors come and clean our house. We've had people drop off meals from church. It's just, thank you will never be enough for the way people diverted to helping us.
And they're still helping us today with bills and stuff, so definitely appreciative and can't ever say thanks enough to everybody.
Tyler says he plans to return to work on Monday. Great.